My name is Helen Peters, a nurse, and I served in Vietnam, where I served for 18 months. Even though this is a story about my experience as a nurse in Vietnam, I never have considered myself as being any sort of a hero. I never felt that I was in danger of losing my life or even of being injured, and I had volunteered to serve in Vietnam. The real heroes were the young enlisted infantrymen who at that time were drafted. They were called to serve in a variety of capacities in a far-off land called Vietnam. Although everybody's experience was different, these young men on a daily basis lived and breathed the fear, doubt, boredom, camaraderie, injury, and death that was the Vietnam experience. For most of them, it was a lonely, terrifying, and patriotic effort to do what they thought was right. They were all soldiers fighting and dying for a cause they didn't fully understand. They often had the feeling that they were entangled in a horrible mistake, and they counted down the days until they would board that Freedom Bird headed home. They would be going back to a world that would never be the same because of their experience in Vietnam. One night, I recall going on medevac transport 3 different times. Patients were stabilized at the 12th Evac Hospital and then transported. During transport, we needed to work with very little light, since often we would receive small arms fire. I often heard bullets hitting the helicopter as we flew through the dark night. Fortunately, we were able to fly high enough that it only dented the outside. I know that it seems impossible to believe that anyone could get used to this type of work, but it wasn't long before everything became automatic. I want my children and grandchildren to know about Vietnam and my experience there. I also want them to see what the war was really like as I saw it. They need to know more than they will get from just a short description in the history books. I have been reluctant to talk about my experiences, but I decided to tell my story and, more importantly, to pay tribute to the nurses and all the wonderful young soldiers who also served in Vietnam.